TV7 Israel News is made possible thanks to your generous donation. Shalom ve'erev tov, good evening. Welcome to our daily TV7 Israel News Bulletin broadcast from Jerusalem. The Israeli Air Force eliminates Iran's intelligence minister in one of hundreds of decisive strikes against the Ayatollah regime in Iran and its proxies over the past 24 hours alone. President Donald Trump instructs Israel to cease strikes against Iran's energy infrastructure so long as the Ayatollah regime in Iran does the same. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz reveals President Trump had signaled his willingness to end the war. The United States and Israel continue to successfully degrade the Islamic Republic of Iran within the operations as predetermined plans, increasingly pressuring the terror regime in Iran, causing it to make every attempt to lash out indiscriminately and deliberately against its Arab Gulf neighbors and Israel. Regrettably, in one of the cluster payload munitions that rained upon central Israel, an elderly couple in their 70s sustained a direct hit to their apartment. They were proclaimed dead at the scene.
The Iranian terrorist regime is firing at population centers to harm civilians. This is the nature of the terrorist regime. It is important for me to say again, we are working urgently to protect you and are doing everything to maintain your safety. First and foremost, your responsible behavior on the home front is the best way to protect yourself from any threat. It is important that you continue to obey the instructions as you have done so far.
Meanwhile, the IDF continues to hunt down senior officials of the Ayatollah terror regime in Iran and elsewhere.
Over the past 24 hours, we have continued to hunt down and eliminate senior regime officials, mass murderers responsible for numerous terrorist acts. We eliminated the regime's intelligence minister, Ismail Khatib, one of the regime's main architects of terror. Khatib promoted and led terrorist plots against Israel and around the world, and was directly involved in the brutal suppression of protests against the regime. In addition, we eliminated Hassan Ali Marwan, commander of the Imam Hussein division in Lebanon, after only 3 days in office. We eliminated his predecessor just a week ago. This is the third division commander to be eliminated since we launched Operation Northern Arrow. Ali Marwan was in charge of the connection between the division, Hezbollah, and the Iranian Quds Force. He was the one who led the firing at Israel on behalf of the Iranian regime. These assassinations, along with the other assassinations we had carried out from the beginning of the operation and throughout it, are an expression of advanced intelligence capabilities and the precise and powerful execution of the IAF pilots and squadrons. We will continue to hunt all senior Iranian regime officials. The series of assassinations will not stop.
Turning to the United States' Dover Air Force Base's Port Mortuary, where U.S. President Donald Trump, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Dan Kane joined the families of 6 fallen U.S. airmen to receive their flag-draped caskets. These 6 American service members were killed in the line of duty when their KC-135 refueling aircraft crashed in western Iraq on March 12th. May their memory be blessed and their families comforted.
Yesterday at Dover Air Force Base, President Trump, the chairman, and I stood in solemn silence as heroes came home. Flag-draped caskets, we honored them. We grieved with their families, and we listened. What I heard through tears, through hugs, through strength, and through unbreakable resolve was the same from family after family. They said, finish this. Honor their sacrifice. Do not waver. Do not stop until the job is done. My response, along with that of the president, was simple. Of course, we will finish this. We will honor their sacrifice. Their sacrifice only steals our commitment.
Amid a whirlwind of disinformation, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth rejected claims that Operation Epic Fury was in any way, shape, or form yet another endless war, absent clear objectives or timeline.
Epic Fury is different. It's laser-focused. It's decisive. Our objectives, given directly from our America First president, remain exactly what they were on day one. These are not the media's objectives, not Iran's objectives, not new objectives, our objectives, unchanged, on target, and on plan. Destroy missiles, launchers, and Iran's defense industrial base so they cannot rebuild, destroy their navy, and Iran never gets a nuclear weapon. Our objectives from day one. To the patriotic members of the press, nobody can deliver perfection in wartime. This building knows that more than anyone. But report the reality. We're winning decisively and on our terms. Iran is a vast country, and just like Hamas and their tunnels, they've poured any aid, any economic development, humanitarian aid into tunnels and rockets. That's what they did with Hamas. Iran has funneled decades of state resources, not to their people, but into missiles and drones and proxies and buried facilities. But we are hunting them down, methodically, ruthlessly, and overwhelmingly, like no other military in the world can do, and the results speak for themselves. To date, we've struck over 7,000 targets across Iran and its military infrastructure. That is not incremental. That is overwhelming force applied with precision. And again, today will be the largest strike package yet, just like yesterday was. As I've said from day one, our capabilities continue to build, Iran's continue to degrade. We're hunting and striking death and destruction from above.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane, for his part, addressed some operational progress which the United States has achieved in the past 24 hours alone.
U.S. CENTCOM remains on plan to achieve our military objectives and remain unrelenting in our pursuit of Iranian missile capabilities, UAV capabilities, and their Navy, and as the Secretary said, their industrial base. Each day we continue to attack deeper into Iranian territory. As reported by U.S. Central Command yesterday, the U.S. military dropped 5,000-pound penetrator weapons into underground storage facilities, storing coastal defense cruise missiles and other support equipment. We continue to hunt and kill mine storage facilities and naval ammunition depots. We continue to hunt and kill afloat assets, including more than 120 vessels and 44 mine layers, and the pressure will continue. We're flying further to the east now and penetrating deeper into Iranian airspace to hunt and kill one-way attack garrisons, destroying Iran's ability to project power outside of its borders.
It is important to know that the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps has targeted a number of energy installations in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Bahrain overnight, claiming to do so in response to an Israeli strike against Iran's largest gas installation, South Pars. General Kane confirmed that the terror regime in Iran does retain some limited capabilities to execute such attacks.
As we said and have always said clearly, they came into this fight with a lot of weapons. This is why we continue to be as aggressive and assertive as we can against their ballistic missile capability, both their medium-range ballistic missile capability and their short-range missile capability. So we are continuing to hunt and find them and kill them, and we will continue to do so. So they still retain some capability.
It is important to know that the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps had already launched hundreds of ballistic missiles and attack drones against Qatari, Iraqi, Saudi, Kuwaiti, Bahraini, and Emirati energy installations over the course of the past 19 days. Nevertheless, in light of the latest escalation, President Donald Trump clearly sought to alleviate global energy concerns by stressing that the latest attack against South Pars gas field in Iran was not done with the knowledge of the United States, and that it would not happen again unless Iran continues to launch attacks against energy installations belonging to the Arab Gulf nations. Meanwhile, after NATO member states initially refused to come to the aid of the United States in keeping the Strait of Hormuz open, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stressed that there are ongoing discussions about the best way forward to tackle this security issue.
First of all, in my contacts with allies all over NATO territory, what I'm sensing and hearing is that we all agree, as we always did, that it was crucial for Iran not to get its hands on a nuclear capability, a ballistic missile capability, and what the US is doing at the moment is degrading that capability of Iran, and I think that's very important. This is important for European security, for the Middle East. It is vital for Israel itself. A nuclear Iran would potentially have been a direct threat to the future of Israel, but again, to the whole Middle East and to Europe. Then when it comes to the Hormuz Strait, everybody agrees this strait cannot stay closed. It has to open up again as soon as possible. This is crucial for the world economy. It is also crucial because it's unacceptable if a key sea lane is closed, or it's so difficult to use that sea lane because of all the threats currently there. And what I'm, in my context with allies, are seeing is that they are intensely discussing amongst each other, with the United States and amongst each other, the best way forward to tackle this huge security issue. And let me add to that, that I'm confident that allies, as always, will do everything in support of our shared interest, as we always do.
Meanwhile, in Brussels, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz also seized the opportunity to address the latest spike in energy prices amid the ongoing war against the Ayatollah regime in Iran.
This morning we are seeing energy prices rising sharply across Europe and around the world. The main cause of this, of course, lies in developments in the Middle East. We will also be discussing this in detail. I want us to send a clear signal that we are ready to help. But for that to happen, the fighting must cease. I am particularly grateful that the U.S. President sent a signal last night that he is also prepared to bring the hostilities to an end. However, this presupposes that Iran renounces its nuclear program, puts an end to terrorism, and is prepared to engage in talks. If all this can be achieved in the coming days, then we are moving in the right direction.
The German leader went on to note that Berlin would agree to come to Washington's aid in securing the Strait of Hormuz only after, quote, the guns fall silent. Thank you for watching TV7 Israel News, which is made possible by the generosity of our viewers. If you'd like to help support TV7 Israel, which is exclusively donation-based, you can do so via our website at www.tv7israelnews.com. Please keep praying for the peace of Jerusalem and redemption of Israel. I'm Jonathan Essen, wishing you an Erev Tov, and God willing, until our next update, Shalom from Jerusalem.